Hello everybody, so in today's video we're visiting Maurice Leslie's last classic car auction of 2024. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look around the auction. I'm going to pick 13 of my favourite cars, ones that probably fit the channel best. We're going to have a look around them, look inside them. We're not going to test drive them. I'm going to tell you what I think they're going to sell for, and then after the auction I'll update the video and I'll put what the actual sale price was and we'll see how close I was. So hopefully this different format you'll find interesting and see how accurate I am at pricing cars. My name's Chris and welcome to Retro Ratchet. This looks a bit of us, this doesn't it? Rover 820 SI, so this is a 1997, 59,000 miles on the clock, and it's an 820 SI, so poverty spec model, and it's British racing green, my least favourite colour for a Rover, but nevertheless it is a very popular colour. For these, obviously this is facelifted, it has the less desirable in my opinion, bonnet and grille arrangement. It's in very good condition, this one. This is a fastback model, and I can't immediately see a whole load of rust on it. It does come with a boot spoiler, which I'm surprised about for an SI, and twin exhausts down there as well. So this should be a T-Series, but we'll probably take a wee look under the bonnet shortly. Now this was a great era for Rovers, these really classy interiors. So this one is cloth, quite a comfortable old thing to sit in. Got your armrest there in the middle. SI, so it's not going to be packed full of equipment. You still have wood veneer on the dash, drivers and passengers airbag. Looking up here we have an electric sunroof, which I believe that will probably be that button there. But yeah, 5-speed manual gearbox. I haven't driven a manual transmission 800 yet in the channel. I have driven an automatic V6, so it would be nice to drive one of these. Original Rover cassette player there, so that's nice to see that that's still there. Old-fashioned little analogue clock in the middle, and digital climate control there, which is also good to see. But yeah, 59,000 miles shown, red line there at 6,500, and it's a very, very well-trimmed, well-appointed car. I mean, when you look at the wood veneer there, you've actually got Rover embossed over the top of it. You've got some leather there and then cloth in the middle, so yeah, it is very, very nicely trimmed. I'm quite impressed with that. 4 electric windows as well, but I'm going to take a wee look under the bonnet and just convince myself it is in fact a T-Series, which it should be at this age. And yes, it is a T-Series. And I tell you what, it looks pretty tidy under here, doesn't it? Old Rover T-Series tend to look more than tired at this age, but it's a very, very tidy engine bay. Even the coolant reservoir is still see-through and clear, so that is nice. But yeah, it's great to see one in this condition. 136 brake horsepower, I think, from the factory. 16 valve, double overhead cam unit. Plenty of space to work in here as well. But yeah, this definitely looks like a well-kept example. So what do we think this will go for? The car's currently out of MOT, but just one former keeper. So what have we got in here in terms of reserve? It's not up, so it might be a no reserve vehicle, I don't know. For me, I'm going to go 2250. 2250 is my bet for this one. And now moving on beside one of the Rover's natural competitors back in the day, the Vauxhall Omega. Now I did do a bit of a more detailed video on this that I haven't yet compiled. This one here, 2.5 V6, and it's an Elite, so top of the range, so it should come fully spec'd up. This one. This has been off the road for some time. The car isn't MOT'd. I think 2 owners though, so low ownership history, nice colour, and condition-wise it's pretty decent. You know, it isn't covered in rust. I do quite fancy actually having one of these myself, but yeah, let's take a wee walk around to see what we think. Original 5-spoke Vauxhall alloys, headlamp washer jets down here. Missing a wee badge off the grille, no big deal. Yeah, so surprising to see cloth interior. I thought it would have been full leather being an Elite, but it is well trimmed. It does look quite robust, this material. Very, very soft and comfortable. Automatic transmission, selectable modes. Big wide dashboard these had. and then various bits of wood dotted throughout the cabin on the centre console and on the door trim itself. Dual zone climate control. Yeah, big sprawling dashboard on these, but again, you know, these were a big luxury executive car back in the day. Traffic info button there, I remember them from decades ago. It was a subscription service, I am sure. Missing an interior mirror is sitting down there on the floor. Now we have an electric sunroof up there. So yeah, it's full of equipment. Now this is showing 104,000 miles on the clock. What do we think this will sell for with no MOT? It is a rare model. I am going to go for 1,050. Now there's a random number for you. Merc 190, and it's a 190D. So what are the chances of finding another 190D at the same auction? So this one is the smaller engine model, 2 litre, and surprisingly it is manual. Most of these were automatic. I much prefer the previous white one. I don't think this colour does them any favours. This one's fitted with aftermarket alloy wheels. To be fair, it's in decent condition, looking down the side of it there. Mileage-wise, it is much higher than the last one. It's 141,000 miles on the clock. 1989 car. This car was declared imported at some point in its life. Yeah, it doesn't look a bad car, to be fair. It looks in pretty decent condition. Right, so let's have a wee look inside this one. Manual gearbox. Great thumbs up for me. An automatic 2 litre natural aspirated diesel 190 would be even more pedestrian slow than the last one that I drove. Blaupunkt Verona radio cassette player in it. Very period. You've got your dual zone heater controls, not climate. Dark blue cloth interior here. We've got the original Mercedes ribbed mats there, and missing on the driver's side. Yeah, pretty much poverty spec. This one we have windy windows. I don't even know if we have central locking in this one. We have a little neat storage area here for your cassettes. So that's nice. Non-adjustable steering wheel, rev counter in this one, analog clock in the middle, heated rear window. What else do we have? Looks like a manually adjustable sunroof. Yeah, you don't get a lot in the base spec diesel ones, but functional car nevertheless. So let's take a wee look on the bonnet. There's a wee pull here that releases the lock to get the bonnet open. Watching I don't hit that wiper there. Yeah, we're missing our sound deadening on this one, unfortunately. And this little 4-cylinder, by the looks of it. Yeah, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, so it is a 4-pot. I think the 2.5 was maybe a 5-pot. I was just checking there, so I didn't get that wrong. Very mechanical engine. There's not much in the way of electrics under here. There's literally only a couple of wires that I can see. So that's probably a plus point in this day and age that you don't have expensive ECUs to fix DPFs and things like that, and high pressure injectors. Noisy old things these, I think 70 brake horsepower if memory serves me correctly. Now, what do we think this will go for? Estimate says 2,750 to 3,500. That might be pretty close actually. I am going to go for 3,000. 3,000 is my bet on this one. Let's have a wee look at the Peugeot 106. So yeah, we're starting to see 106 get classic car status, retro car status, whatever you want to call it. Certainly the GTIs do. This is a very early one. Looks like a special edition. Escapade model. So I don't know what that's based on. Maybe based on an XN by the looks of it. Or an XL. Drop a comment if I have that wrong, but yeah, we do have wheel trims. Very, very plain, but I tell you what, this thing is in amazing condition. Check those sills out. And it's white as well, so white would show up every single piece of corrosion. So it's surprising to see one of these, which would have just been a very cheap, disposable family runabout in the 90s, in condition like that. So what have we got mileage-wise? 30,000 miles, 2 former keepers, petrol engine car, so it's more than likely a 1.1, but actually it's 954, so base spec, so just under 1 litre. But it's lovely, the condition, Really, really nice condition. It's obviously been well looked after. Let's have a wee look inside. I actually quite like this 90s floral, very bright, in-your-face fabric. I remember when these things came out, you know, that was what they had kind of moved on to. But yeah, it's you know what, this thing is as new condition. The headlining, the seat fabric, it looks like it's had, well, that looks like original Escapade floor mats. They've still survived. Got decals on them. That's really nice to see. Yeah, we're not going to have much in the way of equipment. Windy windows, heated rear window, just normal 3-speed fan, rear fog light. That's an aftermarket Clarion, little 2-spoke steering wheel. You do not get a rev counter, and you don't even get an engine temperature gauge. You just get a wee warning light. But 10 out of 10 for originality and condition to see one of these preserved. So I'm going to take a wee look under the bonnet now. Tiny wee switch there. Let's see what this 954cc engine is like. There we go. Pretty decent condition. Not absolutely perfect, but you know, for a car that I think has obviously been used, been somebody's little town runabout, great condition. Yeah, interesting. Never driven one of these, don't know a lot about the engine, so we'll probably leave it at that. In terms of value, I don't see what the estimate is there on it, but I am going to say 2,500. That's my vote for this one. Right, let's go over now and have a look at Mark II Astra, 1991. So that's got to be pretty late for a Mark II. What have we got here? Yeah, it's an August 91. 46,000 miles on the clock. 1,600, so that'll go pretty well with 1.6, but unfortunately it's an automatic. I hate automatics, but so many automatics of this era were so well preserved. And this thing as well, this is mint. I remember this paintwork, you know, when these were out, it was just kind of so dull. They never got polished. They were very, very flat. You know, it was probably just the model that they maybe wanted to get rid of a bit more. So loads and loads of people bought them. It was a very, very popular colour, but used to rust really bad around the arches. And actually very early on in the channel life, I did do a review of a Mark II, and I really enjoyed driving it. It was a 1.4. This one's a Merit, so poverty spec. It is so original wheel trims. Lovely to see this. Let's have a wee look inside. Now the interior is no different to the exterior. Amazing preserved condition, 46,000 miles. Automatic gearbox, that's such a shame. It does look like it's maybe 3-speed. But with a 1.6 in it, it would go really, really well. No rev counter in here. Original Vauxhall radio cassette player, which is good to see. Yeah, this basic Merit cloth trim. Windy windows. But yeah, it's a proper survivor, this car. Wee 2-spoke steering wheel. You sit very, very low in these Mark IIs. It doesn't help that I'm so short, but yeah, that's me just seeing over the steering wheel there. Lovely car. Now, what do we think this is going to make? The estimate is, that's interesting. $1,750 to $2.5 grand. So what do I think it will do? I think it'll do more than $1,750 to be fair. I think it is going to be, I'm going to go for $2,750. I'm going to be generous in this one. $2,750. They're still not that desirable base spec Mark IIs, obviously GTEs and SRIs are, but I'm going to go for $2,750. It's low mileage, it's mint, it's original, it's quite a late one. If somebody doesn't care about the gearbox, then that's what it's going to do. This is a rare find, 1989 Ford Sierra Estate, and it's a Chasseur limited edition. Now, I know a little bit about these because I've just done a review on an identical one that is sitting over there in front of the 106. The one that I've done the review on, That is mint. This one needs a little bit TLC, or that's the way I'm going to describe it anyway. So what a shame, it's a low mileage car. Apparently says 40 odd thousand miles on the clock, but yeah, I mean, it is probably a bit of a restoration project. There are holes in the door under there. We certainly won't pull these or the skin will probably come away. And it's so bizarre to find two of these things, the same colour, the same age, the same limited edition, because I believe there's only 14 estates still on the road, and there's two of them here right in front of me, and both from opposite ends of the spectrum, but both low miles. Yeah, 44,000 miles, two former keeper car, but yeah, when you have a look around the body, it still interestingly has its original Ford Chasseur, Ford Sierra Chasseur, wheel trims on it. It's still got its roof bars there that go across, so they're still present. All the little strips around the bumper are still present. It's a little bit worse for wear, unfortunately. Driver's door mirror appears to be wanting to make a run for it and maybe go and join its friend over there on the nice condition one. I don't blame it, because this guy's going to need a lot of restoration, but yeah, just a lot of corrosion on the bodywork, as you can see. So it's obviously not going to fetch anything like the money of the other one. But let's take a wee look inside and see how the interior has fared. So I would say the interior hasn't actually fared as bad as the exterior in this one. It's in pretty fair condition. There's a couple of wee defects there on the seats. These are poverty spec. I think they were based on an L, and it still has its original Ford radio cassette player, which the other one doesn't have. Now that's lovely to see that that is still in there. Digital clock, poverty spec dash with no rev counter, two-spoke steering wheel, heated rear window, sunroof. Check out my other review whenever it gets uploaded to YouTube. And I've done a detailed one on that other car where you'll see all the features and we drive it. And I tell you what, it was a pleasure to drive. And I've changed my opinion on Sierras now after driving that. Manual windy windows, not a lot of spec. You don't even get a boot load cover on these. So what do we think this one will do? I think the other one was estimated to be in the region of £5,000. Which is probably reasonably accurate. This one is without reserve. So I'm going to say this is going to be 500 quid. Not 500 quid in my money mind, but it'll be 500 quid. Let's have a look at this one. Maybe a little bit new for retro ratchet, but it's one of the rarer models. So Toyota Celica 1.8, it's got the VVC in it, or VVTi to be totally accurate, but it's a T-Sport, which means it's a 190 brake horsepower model, so it'll actually be quite quick, quite a fast car. Nice condition ones of these are actually starting to rise in value, so this one is not mint. Let's have a wee look round it. It would benefit from a really good machine polish. It would bring that paintwork up no end. 139,000 miles, two former keepers. It is a 2005. Looks like it's got its original Toyota alloy wheels there. Somebody sat on the wing and squashed it a little bit, which is unfortunate. And these definitely need a good polish, these headlights. Imagine how good they would come up with one of those Maguire's headlamp kits that you get to detail them. Now let's have a wee look inside. You know, these are grown on me style-wise. I'm curious to know what the 190 brake horsepower version is like. You know, it is going to be a wee bit like the Honda, the VTEC system. All the power is going to be at the top end, and then, you know, looking at that dashboard there, it does redline just over 8,000 revs, so 8250. So yeah, so it is just going to be like one of those Type Rs. What's unusual here is you have digital, fuel and temperature gauge there. What have we got here? The storage compartment, digital clock there at the top, original Toyota CD radio. Digital temperature control here. I don't know if it's climate control or not. Electric windows, 6-speed manual gearbox, which I'm surprised about. I would have thought this would have been a 5. But you know what I do like is the seats. So see these Celica T-Sport seats, no headrests, two-tone grey leather. Back seats, you do sit quite low down into them, but yeah, it's quite a sporty driving position. Very, very stylish car. So I actually quite like this. Probably reasonably cheap to run with it being a 1.8 that's naturally aspirated. Now, I did say values were going up on these. This is high mileage, 130,000 miles. With the dent where somebody sat on it. What do we think this will do? I am going to go for, because it's a T-Sport, I'm going to go for 1650. Let's see if I'm right. Here's a rare one. Vauxhall Vectra Super Touring. So this is a 2.5 V6. So a few little extra features on this one. You've got this big colour-coded side skirt down the bottom. Super Touring alloys. I don't know if I like them that much actually. They do look quite small, so I don't think they suit it too well. But yeah, so this is an interesting one. I don't think I've ever seen one of these before. At the front it looks like they have GSI front bumpers on them. This era of GSI Vectra is actually quite grown on me, and I do know that they are increasing in value somewhat. So yeah, 1997, this has got 111,000 miles on the clock. I haven't actually driven this one, so it would be interesting to see what a 2.5 V6 one of these went like. On the face of it, it's in pretty good condition. Being white again, it would show everything up, but yeah, it's pretty decent, this one. Apart from those wheels, it looks apart. Big rear spoiler on it as well. So let's take a wee look inside. Recaros. Well, that's interesting. Cloth Recaros. We do have a wee plaque here. This is number 292. I'm not sure how many were built. Maybe either 500 or 1,000. I'm sure it's 1,000 of these. 5-speed manual gearbox, air conditioning, traction control, traffic info button again. A lovely steering wheel, this one. Look, it's got a carbon fibre effect on it, and I believe that is standard. I did do a wee bit of research on these a while ago, but yeah, I like that. 160 mile an hour speedo. So yeah, pretty decent in here. It's just a little bit dull, the fabrics and materials that they've used, unfortunately. Dark plastics, dark fabric, dark carpet. Yeah, just a wee bit dull. Now in terms of value, I don't really know much about them, but I'm going to just take a stab in the dark, and I'm going to say 3750 for this one. It's obviously not a totally mint low mileage example, but then it's also not a project car either. So 3750 is my bet for this one. We have to cover the Volvo, don't we? It's a 440. Now, again, unfortunately, it's an automatic, or I could have been talked into maybe putting a bid on it. 1.8 Li, so Li, yeah, it's kind of poverty spec, but it's 26,000 miles on the clock, 1994. So this is so 1994, which makes this a facelift model in red. Now, does it suit red? No, it suited silver. That 460 I had in silver looked spot on. So yeah, I'm not so keen on the colour combination, but nonetheless, it's in great condition, isn't it? It's not perfect, a few wee bits and pieces on it, but very, very straight. And it is a 20-year-old 400 series. So moving around the front, it is a facelift, so it's got the different bonnet on it, headlamp wipers on it, steel wheels, unfortunately. Don't think that does them any favours, but let's have a wee look inside. Being an Li, there's no half leather or full leather, it is just cloth. That's a little bit nicer, that material that's in the centre there, but this does look very hard wearing, the trim that's round the outside of the seats. Very familiar with one of these. It's not that long since I sold my 460, but it's automatic. We don't want automatic, do we? No fuel computer in this one, just analogue gauges for fuel and engine temperature, but it does have heated seats, which is surprising for a base model. Original Volvo radio cassette player there, no air conditioning as you would expect, and no front fog lights. But we don't have electric windows, we have windy windows down there. Yeah, so poverty spec, but it's in very, very good condition. It is only 26,000 miles on the clock. So give it its due, you know, it survived this long, probably just been potted about town being an automatic. So what do I think this one will make? So what did I get for mine? I got just under 3k for mine. I am going to go for, because it's an auto and stuff, I'm going to go for 1750. I'm going to be quite mean with this one. 1750, even though it's a low mileage, because it's not that desirable a model as such, 1750. So let's find out. In fact, actually, let's have a wee look under the bonnet just before we go. I'm curious. Got me curious if it's mint under here or not. Yeah, I mean, it's great condition. It's obviously not been detailed, but don't see any corrosion there on those strut tops or that slam panel. Fuel injected 1.8, so I think these were maybe about 95 horsepower. Yeah, very tidy. So it's decent, yeah. Interesting. 26,000 miles. I'm still sticking at my 1750. Let's go and have a wee look at this Mark III Golf Cabrio on an M plate. Need to get the tea cut out for this one. It is turning pink. I've always had a soft spot for Mark III Golfs. I've never owned one, but I'd probably not own a pink one. This one does look like it needs a wee bit work. A wee bit corrosion here on the rear quarter. Tide line down there. I don't know if somebody has been having a go at polishing that side and then they gave up when they got to that bit. Convertible roof. It has split apart there, so this one does need a wee bit TLC. Still got those original Volkswagen steel wheels on it. I've never really been a fan of the convertible shape, but I do like the hatchback versions of the Mark III, specifically the GTI 16 valves and the VR6s. Right, let's find out some more information about this one. 1995, 129,000 miles on the clock, and it's an 1800 and it's manual, thank God it's a manual. So let's have a wee look inside. See what we've got going on in here. It's quite sporty looking actually, these seats. Yeah, sporty wee seats. Let's pull that back a wee bit. Very flat, quite heavily bolstered, 5-speed manual gearbox. Quite original in here, to be fair. Electric windows, that's for your roof. Got a rev counter there and a wee fuel computer. Red line 6,500. Interesting. Sony CD player, driver and passengers airbags. So yeah, it's fair to be a bit better inside. Now what will this make? Being a project, I am going to go for, I'm going to be really mean on this one as well, 800. 800 quid. It wouldn't make a massive amount if it had been a mint one, but yeah, we're going to go for 800 with one and needing a wee bit work, I would say. A box, we have to feature this, Volvo 740. This is a special one though. It's a manual transmission D24. So yeah, turbo diesel, very, very rare these. This one's without MOT, 1989, but it is low-ish miles for one of these, 77,000 miles on the clock. And I tell you what, the body, because I did have a look at this the other day, it's in amazing condition. There's no obvious signs of major corrosion anyway. And to be fair, I can't even find minor spots of corrosion on it. So, fantastic condition car, but sadly without an MOT. Bumpers need a wee bit back to black on them or some form of renovation. And the car probably needs some kind of recommissioning and getting it back on the road. But always wanted a 7 Series. A 2 Series and a 9 Series and an 8 Series and all those ones that I haven't yet had. I do have a 3 Series and there's a video coming out soon on that. So, estate, so it's the more desirable of the two between the saloons. Now let's take a wee look inside. Cloth interior. These things last forever. Big comfy old barges, and yeah, manual gearbox is the way to go, I would say, on one of these. This does look like a poverty spec, you know, we don't have any aircon. Do we have electric windows? Yes, we have electric windows. So we have electric windows and sunroof, and that will be about it. Manual windy sunroof in there, not electric. And it says electrical fuses press. Now that's interesting. Press that way. And there you've got your fuse box in there. I was actually just curious to see what was in there. So your fuse box is, yeah, I'll just go back and I'll be fine. Lovely and angular in here though. See that dashboard? The door trims, everything has just been designed with a ruler. Love it. Definitely going to have one of these at some point. Let's have a wee look round the back. I mean, the boot is massive in these. Let's see if it is open. No, can't immediately get into it. But the boot is massive in these. 740 turbo diesel. You've even got a wee boot spoiler up here as well. So what do I think this will make? Well, maybe £500 and then I can buy it. So that's my estimation. It isn't really. I think I'll probably do a wee bit better than that. It is in mint condition. I am going to go for £27.50. That's my estimate on the old diesel brick. And this is an oddball one, Saab 9.3 convertible. It's not any Saab 9.3 convertible, it's a Viggen, so this was a limited edition. I have actually done a detailed review on this. I don't know when it will be published, but what an entertaining car to drive. It does sound like it's this one's had a few choice modifications, so it's not standard, very, very quick. 2.3 turbo, 230 brake from the factory. This one's got 117,000 miles on the clock, but yeah, these are really collector's pieces now. If it was me, I would be buying the coupe, but I can see why the convertible is also quite desirable. And this one's in pretty decent condition. Lovely thing to look at. You've got those big, deep bumpers front and rear. This one's fitted with massive exhaust. I think it's 3-inch front to back. Little boot spoiler there. I think it's also got ECU remap, dump valve, and it goes all right. Now inside, this is beautiful inside. Two-tone leather seats, dark blue and black. You do sit right down in them, you know, very heavily bolstered, very, very well built car, full of a lot of equipment, and I can tell you this thing goes very, very well. Now what will it make? It's not a perfect low mileage example, so I am going to go for 4,500. What do you think? 4,500 would be a good price if you got one of these. Another E46. This is an interesting one. It's a 323 Touring automatic, so quite a rare combination these days on an R plate. So it's a much earlier one, 61,000 miles on the clock. Now let's have a wee look around this condition-wise. It's original BMW alloy wheels. And yeah, this thing looks totally original and actually a pretty mint condition car. Can't immediately see any rust on it, which is unusual for an E46. Certainly an R-plate E46 from 1997. Yeah, totally original car. So really impressed with this one. So looking inside, it is totally mint. Full black leather upholstery, armrest there in the middle. Automatic gearbox, not my favourite. It will be very smooth though. Aftermarket Pioneer radio cassette player there. Climate control, fuel computer, ASC button there. This is obviously your different modes for the automatic gearbox. 4 electric windows, but wow, time warp condition. Headlining is mint as well. Now this is a one former keeper car, so the estimate for this one is between 5,000 and 6,000. But I'll tell you what my estimate is. My estimate is 4,000. I'm going to go for 4,000 on this one. Tell me if you agree. So that concludes the video of my 13 favourite cars, and at this point of shooting it, I don't know how accurate I've been obviously with my assessments of what they'll make in the sale, but I'll catch you all for the next one.